What's up, A to Z Sports Live on a Wednesday that is absolutely loaded with news. I don't know what was going on yesterday with Tuesday, but man, September 23rd was completely full of sports news. And we're here to talk about a couple of the Titans news items because I think the Titans kind of got away easy. Brian Callahan and Jarvis Brownley Jr.'s trade got buried because there were Jackson Dartson, who's starting quarterback in New York. Mike Gundy got fired from Oklahoma State, like the only person who's been able to make that football program successful. Mike Gundy at OK State. You saw John Mateer, the Heisman favorite, has a hand surgery. Now he's out for a month. All these things happening, and then Brian Callahan giving up play calling duty, and the Titans trading away a starting corner for breadcrumbs kind of flies under the radar. So we're going to have a fun show here on this Wednesday, walking through all of it. We're going to let you guys kind of control how we start this show off. I put up an instant poll on YouTube, JT, even before we got rolling here to try to help us get some data on a head start on this. So you guys can vote which Titans Tuesday news item is more impactful, Callahan giving up play calling or Jarvis Brownlee trade away. And we will follow the flow of you guys want to take based on these results. So, JT, what's up? Welcome in. We're going to hear some video about several things going on with this, but tell the people what they got to do before we officially dive in on this busy Wednesday.
Yeah, good morning, everybody in the A to Z chat. Good to see you all here this morning. Good morning, Robbie. Good morning, Ronald. Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Sean. All of you guys. Everybody here in the chat. Corey saying, I'm just here for the comments, as he always is. Going to be an exciting one once again. Make sure you guys are liking the show. Make sure you hit that like button, both on the YouTube and Facebook page. Very important for us. Get those likes up. As the legend King VC would say, lock in, like the show. Make sure you're also subscribed over there on the A to Z Sports YouTube channel so you are not missing anything from us because of days like yesterday, which I led yesterday's show by saying the weather reflected my feelings on the Titans. And I think instead of being gloomy, we should have gone with your words, Austin. Thunderstorm,
electric,
because that's what ended up happening. And apologies for being late a little bit today. I know I threw shade yesterday on Xfinity. This morning I can throw shade on NES for making my power go out this morning as I'm setting up for the show. So, a lot of things going on, but excited to jump into all of the conversation today.
Yep. So let's get it going officially. Welcome to A to Z Sports here live on a Wednesday morning. I'm Austin Stanley. He is JT Runke. We are powered by the BTA Sports app to make you a better sports bettor and fantasy football player this season. Got to go through all of our official setup here because we go live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links tweeted out segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. That's at A to Z Sports. And you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok for more Titans coverage. A 5-star Google review for our company, A to Z Sports, goes a long way for us, so help us out there. And our sponsors do as well, and they help you too. So make Wilson County Hyundai a part of your new car buying process in Lebanon or online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Barton Drury Insurance Group, they have customized solutions for all of your insurance needs. Botero Carts, buy a golf cart with 2 locations in Columbia and Gallatin. And Window Nation, buy 2 windows, you get 2 free plus an extra 10% off and make no payments for 2 years. So JT, a loaded show. I went ahead and put this in the YouTube chat, but I'm going to go ahead and put this in the chat as a whole because I want to get data on where we're going to start. We have a Topic 1A, Topic 1B. They're interchangeable. Jarvis Brownley Jr. traded, Brian Callahan giving up play calling. By the way, smart show topic by you and I yesterday by major change looming. That was yesterday morning show, and then just like 3 hours after we were off and running, Brian Callahan hands over the play calling duties to Bo Hardigree, and then later in the afternoon, Jarvis Brownley Jr. traded to the Jets for a late round swap. The Titans send Jarvis Brownley, a second-year player, former 5th-round pick, to the Jets and with a 7th round pick and get a 6th round pick back. So you move up a round and you give Brownlee up. There's a lot of things there. So I don't know. What are you seeing, JT, here out of the gates on where we should start? Is this a play calling lead conversation or is this a Jarvis Brownlee lead conversation? What are you seeing from the comments? And I'll go to the YouTube poll in a second.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm sure most of you can. There's some of you in the chat already saying that I need to get some spicy ramen, maybe some soup, because I am coming down with something, and it is being apparent. Apparently, people are saying in the chat already that they see it. So I appreciate all your well wishes there. But the Callahan seems to be the big thing that people want to start with. Steve says Brian Callahan giving up play calling to Bo. Eric says basically, just being realistic. Callahan, Jarvis Brownley Jr. is gone. Callahan is still here. Let's talk about the person who's still here first. C-Rich says play calling. Let's see what else. Daniel, with probably the most optimistic outlook here, says that Callahan handing off to Bo is perfect. So I think the choose your own adventure. I think the chat is deciding to move to the play calling first.
Fair enough. And so the poll results show that as well. I put the poll up before we went live to help us get a little head start on that. And Callahan giving up play calling duties, 62%. Is of the votes of which Titans Tuesday news item is more impactful. Jarvis Brownley Jr. traded away at 38%. So let's go ahead and do that then. And so JT, we'll go ahead and play this Brian Callahan clip on him. I'll kind of set the table here. So we do our show yesterday because Brian Callahan said Monday that everything is under evaluation, right? So that we took that. Easton was kind of reading some tea leaves. We thought maybe there's something more to this right now, and so we did our full show on this yesterday. And I don't think either of us expected it to happen this week, but the coordinators talk to the media on Tuesdays at 11. Easton's on the way there. He calls and says, "Hey, the head coach is going to talk at 11. It's going to be brief. It's not like fire alarms, but there's something here." So we put in, protocols to adapt to the news, and we did that. And this is how Brian Callahan started everything off.
A lot of things under evaluation, and a lot of things that you self-reflect on at the start that we've had so far, and things that we got to get better at. And one of the things that I think is going to help our football team, help me be a better head coach for our team, is I'm going to hand over the play calling to Bo, and part of that process is. And part of the decision making in that process is that Bo's had some interim experience calling. He's been with the rookie quarterback before. That part of it will make it a little bit seamless in that regard. The other part of it is that our offensive staff and our game planning process and system is going to remain in place. It's still a collaborative process. We rely on everybody to do their part. Nick is still the offensive coordinator. He'll still maintain his same exact routine and process that he's gone through to help me, and then Bo is going to step in as the play caller on Sunday. It'll allow me to do a little more with our team and with all three phases, pay more time and attention to those things and less in the weeds of getting ready to game plan. And one of the things I told the team and told the players after our game is that, look, everyone owns a mirror, right? We can all look at it. We can all see where we need to be better and what can help us be better. And I think this is one of the best things for us at the moment to help me do a better job as a head coach and be more present and available for the football team and less involved in just the day-to-day minutia of getting ready to call a game. So I think it's going to be positive for us. I think it'll help. And I think at the end of the day, too, for our players, it's the same thing. As if there's nothing I love more than offensive game planning and calling plays. And for me to be able to do this for the betterment of our team and to put us in better position, I think we should get the same from everybody that's involved in the process.
All right, so there's Brian Callahan. Bo Hardigree, the quarterback coach, is calling plays, not Nick Holtz. So we asked the question yesterday if
Congrats,
Brian Callahan right. The chat. Well, no. Did Mike McCoy? I can't remember. Did Mike McCoy have the most? I think McCoy had the most votes. Yeah. Okay. But so we asked the question: who should take over play calling if Brian Callahan gives it up? the three options were OC Nick Holtz, QB coach Bo Hardegree, or senior offensive assistant Mike McCoy. And it was voting in that reverse order. Nick Holtz was the least vote getter. Bo Hardegree in the middle of that. And Mike McCoy led everybody with that. So we're going to take all of this in. I've got comments favorited. We're going to go through all this. Chill Mode just threw in a super chat on this. We've got more video to play. But JT, before we do all that, tell everybody about our friends at Botero Carts.
Yeah, Botero Carts. Listen, if you want to forget about the madness of the Titans and everything that they're doing, because it just sometimes it doesn't make sense to them. Listen, life is short. Buy a golf cart. Cool. That's why Botero Carts got you 0% financing for 36 months with carts starting at just $6,700. They're open 7 days a week with full service sales and rental dealer for all of your needs. Whether you're looking to rent, whether you're looking to buy, they're locally owned and operated with 2 locations to serve you here in Middle Tennessee, one in Gallatin, and a new location in Columbia. No dealer fee, no credit card fee, no hidden fees that are going to sneak up on you, and also have a no credit option needed if you want to take that route. Indoor stored carts, so they are in pristine condition for you after all of these storms. You don't want to messy or damaged golf cart because, once again, life is short and you should go buy a golf cart. Botero Carts is the place to do so.
Yep, that's right. Also powered by BTA Sports. BTA Better for Betters to help you become a better fantasy football player, better sports better this NFL season. And you've got officially 1 week left. 1 week left to take advantage of the full season opportunity, because I actually have an email from our guy Tyler, who runs BTA this morning, about what's going to happen October 1 and beyond, because the deal changes. But you have 1 week left to jump in on the September deal of signing up with BTA Sports to download the app. Use the link in the Facebook title, the YouTube description, or code ATOZ. You download it, you get a 14-day free trial, then a $99 year pass subscription for the NFL. You will win your money back. JT and I already did that in week 2. So it's a great way to use their analytics. If you're looking for that, I always find myself like, I got 2 legs of a parlay that I like. I need a third. You can go to BTA Sports and find out where the numbers and projections will help you out there and what the probabilities are of that parlay or that single play or that player prop or that fantasy football daily fantasy lineup set can help you out. So BTA Sports, Better for Betters, right there. Again, download the app and then get 14-day free trial with a $99 season pass only when you use our code ATOZ. Okay, JT, a lot to get to here. So Brian Callahan gives up play callings and gives it to Bo Hardegree. There's a lot of directions we could go here. We have a question to ask, but we're going to get through some of these other things first. The decision to give it to Bo Hardegree, right? We will start there because I see Daniel says fire Nick Holtz. Darren says Bo calling plays, the OC just hanging out on the sidelines. And then there's a lot of other people, I'm sure, that are talking about Nick Holtz. What is he doing? So how rare is it that you have a offensive-minded head coach, an offensive coordinator, and then a quarterback coach with a quarterback coach play caller? I don't know if this has ever happened in the NFL without there being a firing. Like Bo Hardegree has called plays on an interim basis after Josh McDaniels was fired as well. So, your reaction on the skipping over of Nick Holtz in the pecking order of just job titles for this to set up, it's kind of strange.
Yeah, well, much like I said yesterday, I think I came to the conclusion that if it was not Nick Holtz, the optics of that, like just from a national standpoint, are kind of hilarious and terrible.
For Nick Holtz.
For Nick Holtz, for this team. I mean, it may be the right decision, but I think it looks like incompetence in a sense. Like at this point, like why, I think I know that what I know is that I think Nick Holtz, what he does during the week is very positive for this team. And he's well liked. He's well respected for what he does to get the guys ready for game day. We also heard that I think there's another conversation to be had about, are there too many cooks in the kitchen when it comes to how they are constructing the offense? We heard from that as well. It seems like everybody on the staff has a hand in a different part of the game, and Nick Holtz is in charge of the basic offense. But it still feels like at this point, like, I don't know. Nick Holtz is just like an offensive assistant, and you might as well just call Bo Callahan the offensive coordinator because he's doing
Bo Hardigree, not Bo Callahan. That which is going to happen even more because Easton did it on primetime last night. So
did he really?
Yes, he did. He did it. So all right. So Brandon says yes. Too many hands in the pot of offense, guys. Newsflash. This is how everything works.
Yeah.
On offense and defense, there are staff members. There's a head coach. There's a coordinator on both sides. There are position coaches on both offense and defense. Every position coach has some type of role in the game plan as a whole. Like if you just think Tyke Tolbert, the wide receiver coach, is only focused on doing wide receiver stuff, then that's not what his job fully entails. Randy Jordan, we found out, running backs coach, he is in charge of game planning the screen game. That's how it works. Now, whether it's not good or great or whatever, it's you have to delegate these different items so you can truly game plan in specific situations. So I'm spitballing here. I don't know this is how it's set up, but we know Randy Jordan does screens and we know Nick Holtz does the basic offense, right? Somebody's in charge of third and longs. Somebody's in charge of red zone. Somebody's in charge of first and second down. That might be Nick Holtz if that is general offense. I don't know. Somebody is in charge of play action pass. Like that's how the offense works. Mm-hmm. Then you have on the defense, somebody's in charge of looking at the opponent tendencies on first and second down. Somebody's in charge of third down. Somebody's in charge of red zone. Somebody's in charge of goal line. Somebody's in charge of blitz. Somebody's in charge of their screen game. Why? Because you want all these different eyeballs to spend a lot more time looking at their specific item. So in a game day situation, it's 3rd and 2 at the 8-yard line, and you're on defense. And let's just say the linebackers coach is in charge of that aspect, 3rd down plus red zone. You say, hey, their tendencies in this situation, Denard, are to run the tight end in the flats after a play action look. That they do that X% of the time. Option B is this, because that coach has spent more time in that. That's how every football staff works. Every football staff. So just saying.
I still think it is funny that Randy Jordan was unmasked yesterday and got a bunch of fingers pointed at him. I think that was the funniest outcome of yesterday because we've been asking about the screen game and Brian Callahan goes, Randy Jordan's screen game. And everybody's like, oh, but back to
Nick Holtz of this, right?
The Nick Holtz of this. I think at this point, I'm very open to being wrong, and I think the way they prove me wrong is simply by looking better. I continued yesterday to say I will believe it when I see it, but I think there is still an aspect, and people push back on this, that having Bo Hardigree, I almost said Callahan again, having Bo Hardigree now have to juggle multiple different things on the sideline instead of just being able to work solely with Cam and what he's doing, I think does a little bit of a disservice to Cam. And I think there are people who push back and says, well, that's Bo's job. He can definitely do both. I think there's a difference between having Bo sit with Cam and work on just what Cam's doing versus sitting with Cam and doing that, plus also having to then coordinate with Callahan, with Holtz, with all these people in terms of, hey, this is what we ran here. This is what's now working. Let's set up the plays for the next drive to do that. I think
I'm going to push back on that because when Cam Ward is on the sideline, Bo Hardigree is with him, right?
Yes.
When Cam Ward's on the field, now Bo is calling the plays. Cam now has one voice. right?
I think that's
Right.
fair. And so
I think where you're at here is Brian Callahan now is the manager of the football team as the head coach, just like the majority of head coaches traditionally are. Obviously, there are very successful head coach play callers. We know that. That was the idea here. It has not worked, and so they're adjusting. But Bo Hardigree being Cam Ward's sole voice, I think is a good thing, because when Cam's on the sideline talking with Bo, now you're learning what is Cam seeing. How does that change the play calls of the future for Bo on the sideline? Well, Nick Holtz is still up in the booth and looking at the press box angle on what he is seeing from a bird's eye view. And now you've got Callahan who's working on, the in-game stuff on all that. I think it does make sense, but you've got to really dig into it. You have to really nationally, everybody's like, this is stupid. This makes no sense because nobody does it. But in this situation, it does make sense. Now, the problem is what happens if it works? And Easton's writing this for A2ZSports.com later on. What if it works? Let's just say Bo Hardigree comes in, calls the plays for the next 14 games. He did this with the Raiders after Josh McDaniels got fired. He called 9 games. They improved their per game stats by 1 touchdown, by 40 yards of total offense, by 30 plus yards of running game. They got sacked 1 sack less per game. It was better than it was before, right? So there's that small sample size, but it's a tiny sample size. Let's just say it's better. And it works.
It is marginally a little bit better. I think people yesterday were pointing to what he did with the Raiders and mostly pointing to like a 63 to whatever game where it was the Brandon Staley game where they basically quit on him and he got fired immediately after that game. I think that has some nuance to it. I think you also have to look at how many points the Raiders were scoring and remember that Bo was not the only part of what made that Raiders team better. Antonio Pierce got that defense and they scored 4 defensive touchdowns in the last 9 games. So there's points there as well.
Sure.
And I think that's there's
another way to look at it. It was better. But it was better.
Yes,
it was better than it was before. And so let's just say it works. The Titans keep Brian Callahan because it works enough to not fire him. Now you're going into the next offseason. Bo Hardigree was already getting calls from other teams to move. The Titans were able to block something from the Bears because the Bears wanted him as the quarterback coach under Ben Johnson, and that's a lateral move. So the Titans said no. But now, if he's the quarterback coach who was a good play caller for you the last 14 games of the season, do you promote him to offensive coordinator? Then what happens in Nick Holtz? Because Daniel says, you fire Nick Holtz. But what Nick Holtz is doing is basically Nick Holtz is the glue guy. And the glue guy who is doing all the game planning, running the offensive meetings, like Nick Holtz's job is talking to all the different aspects of the game plan on the offensive side, pulling them all together, tying it up, binding it into one big game plan, and then presenting it to the team. And then coaching it. Like Nick Holtz is one of the louder coaches on the practice field.
Yes.
And so that's something that I didn't understand about Nick Holtz until I saw it. He is very, very vocal on the practice field Wednesday through Saturday. It's just in the game, he's not calling plays, but he is also valuable up in the booth. So what happens with OC glue guy Nick Holtz if Bo Hardigree is now the play caller? How do you mix this up? Now, you probably have to give extra titles. Is it co-offensive coordinators where you get a pass game coordinator, a play call? No, you're going to have to get
No, I understand. It's just
Jeff says so. He's an analyst. No, Nick Holtz is the offensive coordinator, guys. He is doing he's teaching in the classrooms on the whiteboards. He's game planning. He's pulling it all together. He's presenting. He's coaching on the field. He is actively coordinating the offense. The only thing he does not do is call plays on game day. Mm-hmm. And so that's where I think it's weird. It's odd. And it's setting up Nick Holtz to be the fall guy.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, time out. Sorry. he is not the coordinator. No, he is the coordinator. Guys, there's a coordinator, play caller, separate terms, right?
Nick Holtz is the offensive liaison. I think
No, he's the coordinator.
Yeah.
Look up coordinator on your dictionaries. They coordinate the offense. Like,
and
that's the whole thing.
He has the personality to do that, and it's very evident that he does that during when they practice and things like that. Like, I agree. I just think from still the national outlook on it is very silly, and it's not a good look for the Titans. But that's okay because we don't have to listen to them.
Yeah, bring the different elements of a complex activity or organization into a relationship that will ensure efficiency or harmony. That is the coordinate dictionary definition right there. So.
Yeah,
that's he is literally coordinating the offense.
I think so that's his job, and I think there's nothing we can say or like more evidence we can bring that's going to change a lot of people's minds on that, because once again, like that can be that, like, that's not how a normal team runs their operations, and I think that's why Titans fans are very mad about the decision. Is that, like, this is not how it normally works for teams that are good. So that's I don't really care. But I think, as Jonathan says, has any successful organization had this set up? This is, from my knowledge, I think this is very new territory.
Yeah. I don't know.
This is very new territory for a team that needs to shake things up. And I think you look at what they're trying to do, and it's a lot of trying to get this on the right track to save many, many jobs right now for this offensive staff.
Yep. In my opinion, I think it was the right decision for Brian Callahan to stop calling plays. And I think giving it to Bo Hardigree was the move that was going to disrupt the least amount of regular roles and responsibilities. That's what I think. Now, Daniel brings up a good comment. He says, when Cam is on the field, Bo can exclusively pay attention to Cam and his footwork, progressions, etc. That is a very, very good point and 100% fair. So, yes, Bo Hardigree's role on being all Cam all the time does change a little bit, but that's why you have backup quarterbacks. You know, Vanessa said, I didn't realize this was so complicated. Oh, yeah. Dude, the amount of, I was thinking about this morning when I was in the shower preparing for the show. I'm like, thinking about all the different conversations that are happening on those headsets and how many different channels they have to go from offense to defense to press box to sideline to head coach to main, all these different things. There's so many things happening. All in this, the backup quarterback also has an earpiece, right? The backup quarterback is a big deal too, because what does the backup quarterback's role do? This is why Brandon Allen is a valuable person here, because he's a smart player. He's been around for a decade. Brandon Allen, a typical backup quarterback job is after a series comes off, starter comes over, quarterback coach goes over, and the backup goes over, and they talk about things. Then the backup takes that information and spreads it around to the O-line, to the wide receivers, to the tight ends, to the running backs. That's part of the backup's role. So there's a lot of different things going on because everything's moving so fast that you have to have it. You have to have everybody on the same page, and everybody has a very important part of the game and the sideline conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. There are so many. Vanessa says that was sarcasm, Austin. So she doesn't actually believe that, but it is true.
It is.
Like, I agree.
If you don't think it's complicated, then people always like, oh, football guys, like, oh, just big macho, bonehead, meathead football guys. It's a super intellectual operation. Yes, there are not some super smart people, but it's a different type of like football IQ, all this kind of thing, especially if you are a coach or a player whose role is on the intellectual side of like offense and game planning and all
that. I don't know if you have much more to go in on that about the thing. I know we have another video about like how this decision actually came down, but like on the Bo Hardigree side of it, I'm very open to being dead wrong, because one, it means the offense gets better, and two, it means the Titans have a chance to win games. And like, because I think at the end of the day, there still is an element that you have the same players going out there, and Bo Hardigree can call the plays as much as he wants, but it's still going to be on the guys on the field to actually, execute a screenplay correctly, pick up their block on a run scheme, keep Cam protected. Like, those things still matter, and those players have not proven that they can do that. So, like, if this does work, it means that this team is going to get better, and I'm all for it, because right now the plays and the outlook on the offense are pretty bad. So
yeah, and so here's a good way we can transition here, because Jack says Bo can't save a Juku from jumping before the snap, right? Bo Hardigree cannot like, psychopathically make Calvin Ridley catch the football. He cannot do all these things. So let's ask this question. If I can find it right here. Where the heck are my emails jumping around here? So the question is, what issues does Brian Callahan giving up play calling actually fix? What Titans issues does this change of Brian Callahan no longer calling plays, what does it fix? That is what I want to go to next. We will do that here in a moment. But going to tell you guys about our friends at the Barton Drury Insurance Group, customized solutions for all of your insurance needs. BartonDrury.com is their website. They are local to the area. They are big football guys, but they're also experts when it comes to insurance. They know what policies you need, how to find the different policies around the country with all their connections and relationships to make you have the best policy for what you're looking for the right rate. So if you need help saving money on your insurance with not sacrificing any of the coverage that you're looking for, whether it's homeowners, auto, renters insurance, umbrella policies, 401k planning, employee benefits, workers' comp. That's what we have them with A to Z Sports with Barton Drury, or a lot more. Barton Drury will help you out. And if you give them a phone call, 615-806-1265, and said, hey, A to Z said I should call you to see how you can help me save money on my insurance. 615-806-1265. A to Z said, call you. How can you help me save money? You will be entered to win a free Titans jersey of your choice from us at A to Z Sports. So shout out to BartonDrury.com. Give them a call today at BartonDrury.com.
You also have to shout out BTA, Better for Betters. BTA, once again, we're back week 4 of the season. They have the insight for you to make smart decisions. They are your edge every week. Awesome. Once again, Thursday Night Football fast approaching, and BTA has another line that they project at least 5 points different than what the big books have. What that line is, which way it is for Seattle or Arizona, you'll just have to find out when you sign up for BTA. Use the code ATOZ when you download the app to get the full season pass for $99 plus a 14-day free trial. Only available for 6 more days. So you said a week, it's almost less than a week. So use the link in the show description to get in on that deal with our friends at BTA.
All right, guys, make sure you hit that like button too. We got a lot of people in here, big audience on YouTube for sure. Facebook people, hit that like button.
The show.
Goes a long way for us. So shout out to all you guys who already have liked the show. So JT, we asked the question here. What Titans issues does Brian Callahan give up play calling actually fix? So, and I'm just going to say this out loud. In a vacuum, I don't think play calling is really an issue. In a vacuum. But this game is not in a vacuum, right? So, but I don't think Brian Callahan's play calling decisions are anywhere near the top of the list of problems for this football team. But I do think there's a list of problems that they have that can help be fixed by Brian Callahan no longer calling play. So to the chat you go. Yes. What are you seeing here?
Yeah, David and Earth Citizen really start us off fast and strong here with some insightful answers, saying nothing. Both of them. Thank you guys for your contribution. Zenny says, I believe that's how you say it, which I think is the big answer. Ding, ding, ding. Clock and situation management. I think especially Darius also saying situational play calling. I think in that 2-minute drill right before the halftime or at the end of the game, I think is very much going to be fixed there. Daniel says game management and operations. We have more people once again saying, Drew saying nothing. He is terrible at coaching. Grady saying nothing. Ramon saying nothing. IR Hoshi once again saying situational awareness. Maven saying game mismanagement. Apple saying play scripts. Zion saying taking shots when they're there is going to get better. Lucas says the focus on the situation gets better. Corey says, who knows what it fixes until we see. Steven saying nothing. Ramon again saying nothing. Bork says pacing and in-game decisions in theory. I think that's the main answer, right? Like those are the only two we are seeing so far.
I have one that's not been called out.
Okay.
Do you mean to get to that, or do you want to do it? What's your answer here?
My answer is the situational play calling. Like, I think that there's an argument to be made that this never even happens if Brian Callahan's better at that. So like, and once again, Bo is calling the same plays that Brian Callahan would have been calling. Like, these are still Callahan's plays. These are still Nick Holtz's plays. These are still the amalgamation of all these guys coming together and game planning a game, right? It looks better if he just knows when to call timeouts and how to manage the clock. And so I think it looks smoother any way you put it, because he doesn't have to juggle all that. So it's an easy answer, but I think it's the necessary one to start off.
We played the clip yesterday of Callahan saying, like, I never want things to be about me, whether it's a win or loss. You never, as the coach, want to be the focus of the story. And Brian Callahan has had two instances that have made him the focus of the story. Week 1, not reviewing the Alec Iman or elbow catch review rule. And then the one this past week, which was the go for it or kick a field goal on 4th and 1 with 42 seconds left before the half. And so in both situations, Brian Callahan is having to make a big picture head coaching decision while also having the next play call in mind, and the play clock is running.
Yes.
Right? And so in both times, it's the Microsoft Surface that's right there for the play calls, but you also have in the ears of like, what's the rule? And then you have somebody talking while you're looking at like 2nd and 20, right?
Here comes, and also analytics say we should go for here because then it's going to be this % chance to score at the end of half or something like that.
Yeah, all these different things are flying. And so right now those two things, he botched both of them, right? Mm-hmm. Because he failed, and maybe the Rob Ryder in the booth failed in the Alec Manor elbow. Who knows what the hell went on with the K-ball.
K-ball man failed.
No, not the K-ball man. John Fossil had some words on that. Easton's also writing later on. So, so there's all that stuff, right? So those things maybe are eliminated. You don't get to delay a game against the Colts if Brian Callahan's not worried about the 4th and 1 play call. Bo Hardigree is now worried about the specific 4th and 1 play call, while Brian Callahan's thinking on go for it or field goal. You are consolidating your processes. Then you have the Alec Manor thing is Brian Callahan's not worried about 2nd and 20. He's worried about, no, the rule is elbow counts as 2 feet. Yes. Challenge it, right? So that's those two things. So I think that obviously helps. Here's one that I think that is flying under the radar. I think it's the eliminating of a portion of pre-snap penalties. Because of what I talked about yesterday. It's not every time, but sometimes. But I think that Peter Skoronski false start against the Colts last week was because the offensive line was in their stance for too long. Cam was making adjustments, and it was like a snap the ball, and Peter kind of got jittery there. You see the pre-snap illegal motions that happen on the Van Jefferson screen that worked for Randy Jordan but didn't count for Randy Jordan. So bummer on Randy Jordan again on that, on the Van screen. There was a couple other of those screens. Those things are happening because the process is too slow. Cam's too slow to get the play call. They're too slow to get to the line of scrimmage. They're too slow to get lined up and make adjustments. They're too slow to snap the football. So they're rushing at the end. And when you're rushing at the end, a false start happens, a delay of game happens, or an illegal formation or illegal shift happens. And so if you can be quicker at the beginning of that, the trickle-down effect is you got an extra 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds to get reset so you don't have an illegal shift, to get the snap off and not have a delay a game, and to properly make adjustments that don't lead to false starts. So I think that's a big deal.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think Bearded Kunu had a great comment. He says, noticed how both Bo and Brian have made comments about Cam changing plays to get out of bad play at the line. Will Cam still have that ability? Yes, I think he will continue to have that ability, and probably more so. So I think Easton kind of tongue-in-cheek said this yesterday. I don't know if he said it publicly, but I think when he texted me, he said, either way, he either texted me or tweeted it. He said, now Cam, instead of checking out of Brian's play calls, he's going to be able to check out of Bo's play calls. So like there's more, like, once again, it's a convoluted situation and kind of situation as well, like for Cam to deal with. So.
I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal for Cam. It's the same plays. It's just the voice in his headset is going to be Bo Hardegrees instead of Brian Callahan.
You trust that.
Yeah, there's a good relationship. Yeah. Now, Paul Texan says that's all player related, Austin, not coaching. Now, you missed my point. Is what happens at the beginning of the play clock. That's where this is going to be more efficient. The beginning of the play clock becoming more efficient because of the play caller change will help the players who are not very good have more margin at the end of the play clock. Again, when you have players in a roster that's not very good, the coaches have to find every little margin to make them less bad or have more room for error. Right?
Yes.
So that's where I think this helps.
Yeah. Once again, like, I will believe it when I see it.
Yeah, the play calling has not been awful. It has not been that bad. It has not been a glaring issue. There have been open receivers who have dropped it. There have been open receivers who have been missed by Cam Ward. There have been times the offensive line blocks well and Cam gets sacked because he doesn't throw it open because the guys don't get separation, whatever, right? There's all these different reasons of why the offense is failing. I don't think play calling as a whole is a reason. It's I think, a pre-snap penalty, right, helps get you now what's the play call for 1st and 15. Then what's the play call for 2nd and 12? Now you're in 3rd and 9. Now the whole thing got ruined because of the pre-snap penalty. So yes. That's where all of this kind of walks into each other. All right, we've got like 20 minutes. We have to talk about Jarvis Brownley.
Yes.
And maybe we skip trivia today. Maybe we don't. We will figure that out.
It feels like a day where it might happen because I think people have a lot to say about Jarvis as well.
Oh, yeah. So we're just going to toss this out here. Was trading Jarvis Brownley the right or the wrong thing to do by the Titans front office? Was trading Jarvis Brownley the right or the wrong thing to do by the Titans front office? I'm going to make a YouTube poll, JT. I'll let you throw that, but we will do that here in a second. But first, I'm going to tell you guys about the new windows I'm getting. I've got new windows on the mend. Fall 2025, the Stanley household is getting a massive upgrade of windows because we've had the builder grade windows in our house. We've been here for just about 2 years, and we had the new windows in our long-term plan. Well, long-term means now. Window Nation came in last Friday, knocked us off our feet with buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free, and they've added an extra 10% off. For this month only. Again, September ends, a lot of deals end for us, but Window Nation still has more on the other side of it. But seriously, guys, jump in on this plan. Buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free, plus an extra 10% off. There's so many different ways of financing, including not having to pay a dime for 2 years, 2 full years. There's a ton of different options you can take there, and they will help you out with that. Roy was phenomenal coming in. He had the heat lamp experiment. I get to see like what my windows are not doing as far as like keeping heat out or in, and what the new windows that we're getting here in about a few weeks are going to do. It's going to drastically change our bills, and we're paying it off over a certain amount of time with no interest. There's a lot of great things with Window Nation. It's going to improve the quality of our home, improve the resale value of our home. It's a great project that we have going on here with Window Nation. Buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free, plus an extra 10%. windownation.com.
Yeah, also shout out BTA Sports, better for bettors. Once again, you have a few days left to get in on that deal. Use code ATOZ when you sign up for $99 free or season pass, and then a free 14-day trial only through September. So make sure you sign up there with BTA Sports.
All right. Was trading Jarvis Brownlee the right or wrong decision by the Titans front office? The poll, where is how come I cannot start this poll? That's really strange. I can't hit start poll button for whatever reason. But JT, I will send you to the chat while I try to get this thing figured out here. So what are you seeing, right or wrong from the audience?
Darren kicks us off saying it's the right thing. Zion says he will trust Borgonzi. Caps says it's wrong. John says it's wrong. Bussin' Diamond says wrong. Out the Crib Custom says wrong. Manuel says wrong. Nas number 9 says dumb and wrong. Jesse says depends on the reason, which I think we'll come back to. Burning Devil says right thing. Bet it was his attitude. Jack says right if they got a fourth. Wrong based on value. Darius says wrong, but I need more details. Reet says with what we know, wrong. Quentin says wrong. Jeff says right thing, wrong return for it. Scott says he's going to say right for now. Ashley says wrong, the comp isn't good. Ramon says super right. Daniel says right thing to do. He was an uncoachable headache. Caleb says right, just low compensation. Michael says with the info we currently have, wrong. Cap says it should have been Snead. Tall Texan says right. He was obviously a cancer who said he wouldn't change play style. Bye. Adam says not enough info at this time, but penalties were a huge concern. So I would say a decent mix. So if this poll is working, I'd be interested to see what we finally get to in the YouTube chat here, because we're getting Jeff says right idea, wrong outcome. Timothy wrong. Zenny says right. Zion says it just feels like something was going on behind the scenes, unknown until the pick comes in. Different answers, back and forth.
All right. So, JT.
Yes.
I'll let you start. Right or wrong? Just straight up right or wrong?
I think
I'll let you explain it after, but right or wrong? I want to know what side you're on.
I think it's wrong. I think it's a mistake. I do. But like, it's a mistake, but I understand it. Like, I understand why they made this decision. And I know this was a very hotly contested topic yesterday, because you got worse compensation back than what you put into him. And I know it was a different regime with Rand Carthon making the decisions, but it still remains that Brian Callahan was here, Denard Wilson was here, Chad Brinker was here for that conversation. So it's not like they were getting rid of a guy just because he didn't fit what their draft or their player type is. I think there's a difference between the player type he is and the mentality type, which we'll get into here in a second. But he's a second-year player and a player that was making very meaningful playing meaningful snaps for you. But at the same time, I do think that there is things going on behind the scenes that led to this trade that are yet unseen. And I think you can kind of maybe read between the lines of why it happened. One, I don't think it's a coincidence that yesterday, after the play calling change, after all of that press conference, Denard Wilson comes out with, and I know that the Titans no longer live stream the coordinator's press conference, but from the clips we saw, Denard Wilson's demeanor was very different from what we've seen of him in a lot of those press conferences. And it all culminates with the idea that he talked about how the safeties for sure were the ones not stepping up last week, and that there were a lot of defenders that have not stepped up. And Austin has left, but I guess I will continue on my side of the two thing here. Jarvis Brownley Jr. certainly was one of those guys who was not making the correct decisions. And I think when you look at what he said yesterday in terms of, hey, guys need to step up or they're going to start getting benched. I don't think it's a coincidence that you see that and then look at what they did with Jarvis Brownley and did that yes, it's the JT show. It's the JT show. A to Z just traded Austin. I guess I'll just keep going because I don't know where Austin went. I don't know if he's coming back. He says technology is so fun. Be back in a sec. He said he froze but could still hear me. So we hopefully will get Austin back, but I'll just continue to go on my diatribe. I think there were reasons for him to get traded. One, penalty discipline. He continues to make penalties. This was a thing that we continued to see last year. Things that Denard continuously repeated time and time again, as I think we're getting Austin back, maybe. Terrence says from third string to first string. Let's go. I know. Big day for me here. You look at what Jarvis Brownlee did. Oh, hello. Good. Can I hear you? You can hear me?
Yeah, I'm not happy, but
okay.
I don't know what happened. My computer froze. I was like, it's going to shut down. I text JT. Here.
Jordan says focus. I'm trying to. Much like Brian Callahan with the headset, there's a lot of things going on. I'm trying to do the best that I can.
It's like, what the hell, man? Like it's not an internet thing. My computer just decided to, hey, I'm gonna take a quick power nap. And I'm like, what the hell? And like now I have a Zoom update that's installing that I can't minimize off my screen. So I'm just gonna move this Zoom workplace installing updates box away that just won't go away. It's just ridiculous. Technology sucks at the most inopportunistic times.
Anyway. We're definitely not getting the trivia today for sure. Then
no, we haven't seen the trivia. Guess what? The Zoom update failed after all that stupid stuff too. So
thanks,
right.
Zoom. Bottom line, he did not get better with penalties. His mentality and vibe this season that I've gotten from him is very different than what I felt like we heard from him last year. And ultimately, you look at what he did this season, from the penalties to yelling at fans in the Tampa Bay to his answers. And we have one after the post Denver game. You have a guy who I think does not fit with the Brinker Borgonzi style of player. And what I mean by that is like the Alec Ayamanners, the Cam Wards of the world, the guys who are all ball all the time. It's at this point, I think that's the reason why they did it, because the personality behind the scenes certainly seems like he's just not a guy that was wanting to get better.
Well, to me, first of all, it was the right decision to trade away Jarvis Brownley Jr. for many reasons. I don't think Mike Borgonzi, Chad Brinker would have drafted him. I don't think he fits with. But Chad Brinker wasn't drafting players. Rand Carthon was.
Okay.
So I don't think Brinker and Borgonzi would have done it. I like Jarvis Brownley Jr. as a player. I think he was the most fun player to watch his rookie training camp. I'm not anti Jarvis Brownley Jr. as a football player or as a person at all. But I do think he was a wild card, right? Like, remember, he fought Bucks fans at a joint practice.
Yes.
Not exactly the most mature thing to do.
Yes.
He got into a fight, a verbal altercation that was split up by a lot of players with a fan. That is not normal, right? He has penalties, issues. He's aggressive. He is a dog. You need those guys, but you don't need stubbornness.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think Jarvis, and this kind of happened last year, Jarvis Brownley Jr. created a situation in the locker room. Remember after the Washington Commanders game when he said, I think the guys are too cold?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was pulled out of his ass and made no sense. And I think in a locker room that it's about to be a real losing locker room, and losing locker rooms are not fun to be in and to cover. And I think he had rotten fruit potential in a losing locker room in about a month or two. So what does rotten fruit do? If you got a fruit stand in your house, it messes everything up, right? Like you get one peach that goes bad, it ruins a whole batch of peaches. And you don't want that mold going everywhere. So I think Jarvis Brownley Jr. had rotten fruit potential. And there's also something like this. Like, Easton had the tweet yesterday. I'll throw up on the screen. The textbook example of the kind of trade that has two basic possible explanations. One, the front office just made a mind-numbing value error. Two, there's a lot more to this player or they're standing on the team than the public knows. You decide which one sounds more plausible. This one is a big, fat circle number 2, and that is the situation here. And Jim Wyatt said on 3HL yesterday that there are some other things going on. I feel, and I feel like I know I can say this. This has been in the works for a bit. It's nothing new. Jarvis Brownley Jr. had a walking boot on Friday. Is he going to play for the Jets soon? Probably.
Maybe. Yes.
Probably. Has Jarvis Brownley Jr. been on the trade block for multiple weeks? I think yes. And so that's what I know. Here's just my opinion on top of it. I wonder how much this got put on the radar or in motion after he got into a verbal fight with fans at a joint practice. Yes. And then after hurting the football team in week 1 with 3 penalties, he said this.
Acceptable to these officials? I ain't got no answer for you on that one. I ain't gonna lie to you. What was their explanation when you had the second call on that crosser with Sutton? Shit. Ain't tell me nothing. Did you ask? Nah, there wasn't even no point. When you playing good defense and you already talked to the ref before the game and they already knew it was gonna be a physical battle, shit. You control what you control. That's all I can see.
But you have to control it different. I mean, they ultimately have the final say, right?
Yeah, for sure. So you control what you control. I got no say so on the flags they throw or how they feel. So like I said, man, I'm gonna keep playing me. I'm gonna keep playing my game.
So a game like today doesn't make you want to change anything about the way you approach the game?
No, sir.
That's just being stubborn.
That's not a good look. And
no, it's not. It's look.
Like I said while you were trying to get back, I don't think it's a coincidence that Denard comes out with that different demeanor in the press conference yesterday and says, if you guys don't step up, if the players don't step up, they will get benched. Jarvis Brownley Jr. is the type of player that is stubborn enough to be in his ways that it was not going to change. And I think this is a guy who it along your lines, it's a tone setting type of thing for the locker room in terms of, yeah, I agree with you that he was probably the most likely guy that if they continued to lose, you see him be one of the first guys that starts to sow the seeds of dissent into a locker room that does not like Brian Callahan, a guy, one of the major guys that loses the locker room for you.
Yep.
And does it mean it's right? Once again, I think it's a mistake because your team gets worse because now you have to play Darrell Baker Jr., Jalen Armour Davis, or Marcus Harris on the outside for the entire game. As much as Jarvis Brownlee commits penalties, I understand that, and that is somebody who that also hurts the team. The play on the field in terms of the run game, in terms of tackling, it gets worse. And so that's the trade-off you have to live with. And I don't know if it's one that this team needed right now.
David says, that's not a dog, it's a selfish player. Absolutely. So Jarvis, let's go back to the preseason game. Jarvis Brownley Jr. got a flag in a preseason game for suplexing a ball carrier, right? That is a 15-yard penalty, easy, all day long. He did that that last season too, as a rookie. You got a flag for suplexing, body slamming a player. It's against the rules. You cannot do that. So he did it last season as a rookie. He did it in the preseason, and he did it again in week 1. And he got in an argument with fans at a joint practice.
Yes.
And he's just not smart at playing football at times. I love watching the guy play, but like he's so frustrating. And then he says, the game is the game. You have to play the game the right way. This goes for players. This goes for coaches. If the referee is going to be a jerk and is going to be annoying and going to be a hall monitor, and you guys know how I feel about hall monitor refs. They're there because they want power. But guess what? They have it. So you got to play the game the right way. If you know that the ref is going to call these things, you cannot keep doing them because that's your style. And no, I'm not going to change. It's just not the right way to approach this. So with all these things mixed in a blender, it was the correct decision to move away from him. I don't think they had a lot of great value available for him. But
it would have listen. It wasn't the worst case scenario out there, right? Like it wasn't. The worst case scenario is that the other suitor who apparently was reported to be out there was the Patriots and Mike Vrabel. Could you imagine yesterday if all of this happens and then Jarvis Brownley Jr. goes to the Patriots? Like that would have been the worst case scenario in terms of the optics. And I want to get to this comment right here because we got some super chats and we appreciate you guys here and we're going to get to all of them. He says, Amnesia says his attitude and demeanor is not professional. Absolutely. Yeah. And then Kick It to the King says, I don't get why folks are upset trading a cornerback 4. Give me a break. Cornerback 4.
I mean, he's your cornerback 1.5, right? But like, again, but he's costing you penalties. And so Orlando has a comment too. Like Denard Wilson has the acronym DAWG, DAWG,
yes.
You know?
Yes.
Do you know what the D stands for?
Discipline.
Bingo, right? Disciplined assholes with grit. That's what it means. But you're not just an AUG. You got to be disciplined.
Yes.
And Jarvis Brownley Jr. is not disciplined. He's an asshole with some grit, damn sure. But you got to be.
There's another D word that he is.
Yes.
So.
But you got to have the discipline side of things in this. And so we'll. So there's plenty of responses that are going to come to that. But all right, let's go ahead and the entire team is undisciplined. Penalty, maybe some of them are. But
Denard says as much. He says we cannot have those tackles anymore. This team, he said we're getting back to basics yesterday. He said we need to tackle better, and if it doesn't change, guys are getting benched. He flat out said that. So yes, this team needs to become more disciplined in a hurry. Yeah, I think it goes for Jeff. What he's the same at. Jeff also has to be disciplined. Is there a world at this point where Denard is this serious that if Jeff makes dumb plays and starts getting penalties, he gets benched for a couple series? I think there's a world where that happens. And 100%. If this is I'm not going to get into this because I know we're running out of time, but like Jarvis Brownley Jr. is a guy who gets, because he has some talent and he can play somewhere else, he gets traded. Nothing is off the board at this point with the Titans team. So
a couple super chats and a couple other Jarvis Brownley comments to get to, but real quick, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever you get hurt in life, you have to know where you can turn to, who can help you out, and who can get you back on the path to health and the rehab, whether it's a surgery that's needed, physical therapy. They got you all right there. At Bone and Joint Institute. Also, shout out to Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. WilsonCountyHyundai.com is their website. Help you save some money on that new ride. Not going to have time for trivia today. I have an in-person meeting that I got to scurry on to, and my internet, my computer just having a brain fart in the tail end of the show hurt that. And we just have a lot of things to talk about. So to wrap up the Jarvis Brownlee conversation, Justin said, fire sale incoming with players if players don't improve. I don't think Jarvis Brownley Jr. signals a fire sale. I think this was a situation that they needed to move on from a player who had rotten fruit potential, and they did it. Richie says draft, develop, never retain. Like that, their whole mindset is draft, develop, retain.
Players that fit their criteria.
Yes, and their criteria is physical, is they want longer corners, right? Snead, Jalen Armour Davis, longer corner. Roger McCreary is not, but Roger McCreary is a good disciplined player. Say what?
I have this long running bit that like this is Roger McCreary's last year because he doesn't fit that
for sure.
Model.
But he's good. But he's a good player.
Yeah,
There's always exceptions to the rules, right? Yes. And we'll find out what that means. Andre says Aaron Glenn and Vrabel knew what he is. We'll regret this trade like we do about all the trades. Second year, 5th round guy who's playing beyond it. Cornerback room's trash. Like, what? Do we know that Vrabel? I mean, Mike Vrabel wasn't here with Jarvis Brownley Jr. So, like, Mike Vrabel doesn't know anything besides evaluate. Yeah. I mean, honestly, Mike Vrabel was not in the league as a coach during Jarvis Brownley draft process.
Yes, correct.
So
now I think that the Patriots are desperate for corner help because Christian Gonzalez has unfortunately just cannot stay healthy. So like it makes sense that they would have been in the market for a corner. The optics though, just the Vrabel buzzwords are very much out there.
Yeah, but so like I'm sure Vrabel did his, when he was sitting out the year, yes. He was doing plenty of homework, right? He wasn't just sitting on his ass or the golf course smoking cigs like anybody. Well, he was doing both those things. But he was also probably looking.
And then he was helping out the Browns. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah. So like, I think, so he was aware of Jarvis Brownley Jr., but like, and me just says bigger question going back to the Callahan stuff. Will Callahan be able to restrain himself from micromanaging the play calling? That's a great question that I don't think anybody can really have the answer to unless you're on the headset.
Yep.
But it is a good question.
Yeah, I agree. It's once again, with all these things, I'll believe him when I see him. And this weekend is going to be very interesting to see if this starts to get going in a better direction.
Yeah, for sure. Last super chat here, Chomo says, give up the playbook to pick up the rule book. LOL. I mean, yeah, you have to be able to, he knows the rules, but you have to be able to focus on the right things in the moment when the play clock is 25 seconds.
Yep.
And he had too many things on his plate. The easiest thing for him to get rid of, if Brian Callahan wanted to stay a head coach, he had to give up play calling.
Yep.
If he doesn't want to give up play calling, then he's not going to be a head coach. And based on how this has gone, he's not getting a second opportunity.
Nope.
It's not a Mike Vrabel gets fired from one place, sits out a year, and gets a job the next year, or all the other guys who have done that in the past. This is a one and done opportunity for Brian Callahan. So how are you going to hang on to it? You got to give up something that you say you love, which is the right thing to do.
Yep, I agree.
All right, guys. Last thing before we jump out of here, we will be live. Well, JT and Easton will be live at the Land Shark Bar and Grill on the 2nd floor of Margaritaville on Broadway. So make sure if you want to come out there and watch Titans Texans, do it with us. I'll be there. JT and Easton will be on the show. So you can hang out with me while we all watch the show, and we'll just have some fun. Making sure that everything goes smoothly there. But great sports bar, TVs out the wazoo with Traveler whiskey deals, Miller Lite bucket specials, really good food menu as well on 4th and Broadway, easy parking, which is great, especially for downtown on an away game or just a regular home game too. But check us out there with Land Shark Bar and Grill, 2nd floor of Margaritaville, 4th and Broadway. We'll see you guys tomorrow. 3rd string Thursday, getting set for a big one. That's it for us. Appreciate you guys. Like the show, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Appreciate it as always.